Have you ever felt included? Like you're finally someone and you were terrified of losing it? That was me at 17. Let's go back to the summer of 2019. Before that summer, I didn't really hang out with people outside of school. I didn't really get invited to many parties. I wasn't at the center of anything. I was just a kid in the background. But that summer, something shifted. There's this little side house at my family home. We called it the casita. The casita became the spot. I would have some friends over, we would have music playing, and what started out as just some small kickbacks started turning into larger ones, and then eventually parties. For the first time in my life, I felt included, I felt known, I felt like I was somebody. And if I'm being honest, I didn't really want that feeling to end. One night at the casita, someone said that we needed to get more alcohol. And one of my friends casually mentioned that he knew how to get it. He said you just walk into the store, grab a few bottles, walk out like nothing ever happened, and he said he was going to do it. But when we were at the store, he backed out the last second. And I remember I felt this feeling rising in me. If I don't do it, I look soft. If I don't do it, then we don't have alcohol for the casita. And if I don't step up, then I would fade into the background. Go back to being that person that wasn't included, that person that wasn't known. So I walked in, no hesitation, got the job done. And when it worked, something changed. Now the parties depended on me. I wasn't just included, I wasn't just the guy with the spot. Everywhere needed me. The parties needed me. And that feeling of being needed was intoxicating. Not the alcohol, but the feeling of being needed. The feeling of importance. As this continued, I became the worst version of myself, walking into stores like the rules didn't apply to me. The worst version of myself was the most popular I've ever been, the most needed, the most important, the most known. I wasn't thinking about consequences or risk anymore. I was thinking about maintaining my identity, keeping all of that in place, keeping that feeling of belonging that I finally had acquired. Because at 17 especially, before I've ever felt anything like that, that feeling meant everything. The casita started small, and then it grew. A few people to more people, a few bottles of alcohol to more bottles of alcohol. More risk, but more reward. Or at least that's what I thought. At one point, we would walk in as a team of 4. 2 people would distract the workers. 2 of us would come out with 2 bottles apiece, so 4 bottles per store. And eventually this developed even further, where we would go store to store to store and spend a whole night. I remember there was one night, it was 3 of us and 2 of my friends, and we went to maybe 8 stores, 6 bottles apiece. So we ended up getting about 48 bottles that one night, all in the trunk of my car. Brought them back, and had one of the biggest parties we ever had. But as this path continued, and as I started to go down this dark road, things started to level up. And eventually I would find myself in thick water. It was just like any routine that we used to go through, and any normal day. But this day, this was the last time. I walked into a store with one friend, and right before the exit, right before I could grab the alcohol that we needed, I got jumped by 4 guards. I remember they dragged me into the back room and started hammering me, asking me for my age. I said I was 18 because I felt like that was the right thing to do in that situation, where I could get off. But they said if I was 18, they would call the cops and I would go to jail. So I told them the truth, that I was 17. And instead of calling the police, they called my mom. And when she came to pick me up, she was upset, of course. But when we got home, she collapsed to her knees, looking at me with this face of disgust, this face of disappointment, this face that I had failed and that I had let her down. And in that moment, watching her cry, watching the disappointment that I put on her face, everything shifted. I wasn't addicted to stealing. I was addicted to feeling like I mattered. I was addicted to being included, to being known, and not being invisible anymore. And I would have done anything to protect that feeling. But seeing my mom like that made me realize something. I was trying so hard to belong somewhere. To belong somewhere that betrayed who I actually was. If you've ever changed who you are just to stay included, tried to become someone that wasn't you because you were scared of being left out, you're not alone. Belonging is powerful. But if you have to lose yourself to get it, to belong, then it's not real. 17-year-old me at that time didn't need to be tougher or didn't need to be different. He just needed to understand that he did matter. He needed to realize that he did belong.